Good morning. Good morning. There it is. I'm assuming that the other half of the congregation is in a nice cool pool somewhere, and we are the only ones who braved it in our shorts and sandals and tank tops. Dear ones, welcome to this gathering of hearts and minds, and let's be honest, unfinished masterpieces. If you arrived here this morning with your to-do list barely scratched off and your socks slightly mismatched, or you're wearing two different sandals, you're exactly in the right place. Today we gather not as polished statues, but as living mosaics, each tile jagged, but each piece beautifully imperfect, and together creating something unrepeatable and real. In a world that insists that we must look a certain way and act a certain way, or heaven forbid, have it together at all times, to be in community where we can admit our cracks, our unfinished edges, is a deep relief. So if you find yourself relieved or even a little bit cracked, welcome. You are not alone. Let's get something out of the way. Perfectionism is exhausting. Neuroscientist Dr. Tara Swart has shown us what this delusion of perfection does to our brains and bodies. Constantly striving for the unattainable creates a state of chronic stress. Our minds are in overdrive, sending a flood of cortisol and adrenaline through our systems, shutting down the creative and empathic parts of our brain. And this isn't just a one-time thing, it's a constant low-grade emergency. It makes us irritable, anxious, and even can compromise our immune systems. We're running on empty, constantly being afraid of being found out. Researcher Brené Brown has spent her career studying shame and vulnerability, and she's identified perfectionism as a defensive belief system. It's not a healthy way to strive for excellence. It's a way to avoid being judged or seen. It's a shield that we hold up, trying to protect ourselves from the pain of rejection. But as Brené points out, we can't hold this shield up with one hand and reach out for connection with the other. Perfectionism keeps us from being truly seen, from revealing our true selves, and from connecting authentically with one another. When we are busy curating that perfect image, we're hiding the very parts of ourselves that make us human and relatable. We're hiding our cracks and our unfinished edges, those very places where the light comes in. Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz once called perfection a dangerous delusion because someone will always find fault with it. Of course, that's never been a problem for Unitarian Universalists, who are famous for never, ever finding flaws in anything. Not with a sermon title, not with the coffee hour cookies, and certainly not with the choice of hymns. If you've ever been on a UU committee, you'll know that perfection is not only elusive, it's also a subject of spirited debate, well-meaning. And that's a gift, because it means that we care and that our unfinished edges are out in the open, making room for the messiness of real community. Psychologist Rick Hansen points out that our brains are like Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive ones. Evolution's survival mechanism trained us to scan for what's wrong, what's missing, a leftover from when we had to prioritize potential threats, like a rustle in the bushes or a shadow on the trail. This negativity bias means that we're more likely to remember the time that we tripped over the flower stand rather than the countless times we walked gracefully by it. But recognizing this tendency is the first step to rewiring our minds, so we can savor joy, share gratitude, and celebrate each other's growth, not just our mistakes. So how can we break free from perfectionism? Physicist Peter Putnam, whose work in cognitive science showed that the mind strives to always return to a stable state. So by generating, and it does this by generating its goals and its own intuitive rules. He argued that rigid feedback loops trap us in constant self-correction. He believed that thriving minds embrace randomness and imperfection, allowing for Darwinian adaptation and learning. Instead of adapting and learning from new experiences, perfectionists by resisting variation, miss out on growth and new perspectives. They aren't allowing for the random variation and natural selection of new neural pathways and behaviors. Openness encourages intuition, discovery, and genuine development. So friends, as we embark together on our search for a new settled minister, let's remember Putnam's wisdom. Let's resist the urge to fall into the binary of right or wrong, or perfect fit, or going back to the drawing board. Instead, let us be surprised by the gifts that emerge from openness, curiosity, and willingness to let our congregation and ourselves evolve. After all, as Putnam might say, our brains are designed for natural selection, and so perhaps a little trial and error is not only permissible but required for health and flourishing. And let's face it, at our age, working on a little neuroplasticity can only help. If nothing else, it might help us find or remember where we parked our car after coffee hour. Dear ones, we are a little cracked, all of us, a little unfinished and a little broken, and that in and of itself is a sign of life. We are not fragile porcelain dolls. We are resilient, beautiful, dynamic human beings. So let us take a deep breath together. Let us leave our shields at the door. Let us welcome the beautiful mess of being human. And as we continue with our service, may we be present to our imperfections, and in doing so, create space for the authentic connection and belonging to one another. Come, let us worship together. So this morning I'm going to go ahead and do the chalice lighting. We light this flame not to find perfection, but to find ourselves. We light this chalice to remind ourselves that we are not broken or flawed, but rather we are whole in our imperfection. We honor the messiness of our lives and the beauty of our vulnerabilities. We light this flame to honor the wisdom found in mistakes and the courage it takes to admit them. We are not called to be perfect, but to be authentic. May this flame remind us of our shared humanity. We can release the pressure to be more than we are and instead embrace the simple grace of being. Good morning. It's a little odd during summer, I know. Good morning today. My name is Cassie Winters, and I am honored to be your worship associate today. We are so glad to have you here with us, whether you're here for your first time or you've been attending UUSM or other UU churches for the entirety of your life. Wherever you are, we are glad that you are here. The Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Santa Monica is an open and affirming congregation, welcoming people from many diverse and beautiful backgrounds, identities, and abilities. We strive to build a community that is radically inclusive, anti-racist, whole, just, and sustainable. We celebrate many religious beliefs and learn from wisdom both ancient and contemporary, sacred and secular. You can look around our sanctuary here and see the symbols of many faith traditions we learn from and honor. We offer ministries and programs to serve the needs of a congregation and to be of service to the larger world, including chalice circles, small group ministries, meditation meetings, book clubs, children and youth religious education classes, and activities for people of all ages. We also join with other social justice, environmental justice activists to promote love, peace, and equity among people and care for our home, the earth. There is truly something for everyone here, and we invite you to consider becoming a member of our congregation to help us further the work that we do in the world. And as we gather in our sacred space here, we recognize our homes and the homes of most of our members and friends are located on the sacred waters and upon the unceded lands of Indigenous people. We honor their presence among us and the ongoing struggle for equity, justice, and sovereignty. This morning, we're glad to welcome Reverend Sue Fisher, who is in our pulpit for this morning's service. She is a teaching elder in the Presbyterian Church of USA and a member of the Presbytery of the Pacific. She received her MDiv from San Francisco Theological Seminary in 2000 with Kikansa, specializing in interim pastoral work. For 13 years, she led the Presbytery's Nicaragua Partnership Team and has traveled to Nicaragua 8 times. She is the president of the Speakers by the Sea Toastmasters Club, and she loves gardening and traveling. Sue and Frank, married 42 years, live in El Segundo. They have 3 children, 4 grandchildren, a dog, and a cat. Whew. After the opening hymn, please stay standing as you are willing or able for the covenant and the hymn of praise.
All right. This morning's hymn will be the Change. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world, and change will come to you. Be the choice you want to see in the world. Be the voice you want to hear in the world. Be the voice you want to hear in the world, and change will come to you. Be the light you want to shine in the world. Be the light you want to shine in the world. Be the light you want to shine in the world, and change will come to you. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world, and change will come to you. And change will come to you. And change will come to you.
Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship. Thus do we covenant with each other. El amor es la enseñanza de esta iglesia. Buscar la verdad es su sacramento y el servicio es la oración. Vivir juntos en paz, buscar el conocimiento en la libertad, servir a la humanidad en comunión. Así es como convenimos unos a otros.
Good morning. My name is Jessica Tenhave Place, and I'm the Director of Multi-Generational Religious Education here. And right now is when I ask my helpers in the corner to help us collect donations for the Westside Food Bank. And so if you have brought a donation, please raise your hand, and one of our helpers will come and collect it from you. Thank you so much, everyone, for helping. These donations for the Westside Food Bank really help them in their mission, serving people facing hunger and food insecurity in our community. So thank you for your generosity. See us collecting some stuff. What do you got, Theo? You got something in your bag? It's important for us to encourage, oh, he's got some peanut butter, good job, to encourage even our youngest kids to be a part of the service that we do here as a community, knowing that serving people in our community, especially those in the most need, is an expression of our faith and values. So I see a few more folks. If we can grab their donations, let's put them all back down here in the basket. Thank you, everyone. And then we'll meet, and any other young friends who want to meet us on the stairs for our time for all ages, we'll meet up there. Thank you, everyone. Good job, everyone. Got some cereal, some peanut butter. Good job, Alex. Thank you. Wonderful. Yeah, if the basket is too full, we can just leave it at the bottom step there. Thank you, everyone. Okay, let's move that. Come on, grab a seat on the steps. How are you doing today, Emerson? Good. Good to see everyone. And today, as Cassie has already shared, we're talking a little bit about perfection and what that means. Do you guys know, what do you think of when you think of the word perfect? Does anything come to mind? Allie, could you hold this for me? What do you think, Emerson?
Something that we really like.
Ice cream.
Oh, yeah. Something we really like. We can think, this is the perfect ice cream. To me, that's probably chocolate with peanut butter. I love that kind.
And what about mint chip?
Yeah, and I think that's a perfect example of how we think of different things as perfect, right? Not everything that we consider perfect is what somebody else would. And that leads me to what I want to talk about today. So when I grew up, part of what I would do when I came to church, when I was probably starting Holly's age, was learning to memorize scripture. And one of the scriptures I learned, it went, okay, can everyone hear me? Can we do quiet coyotes? I know we got a lot going on today. I'm glad you're excited to be here. But so one of the scriptures I learned when I was really little, it went, be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect. And man, that was tough. It's like trying to be as perfect as God. That's like if you're practicing basketball and you're not satisfied unless you're like as good as Kobe Bryant or something. It becomes really hard. It's like, nobody can be that perfect. But then when I went to school as a grown-up and I was studying the Bible in its original language, I found out that word translated as perfect, teleos, really means more like full grown or complete or mature. And so I like that a lot better because I think our goal shouldn't be to be perfect, because then I think you compare yourself to other people, right? Okay, let's have gentle hands, guys. Okay, let's be gentle, everyone. Thank you. As I was saying, something we can strive for is not necessarily perfection, but things like being kind to others, expressing our emotions when we need to express them, listening to each other. And so these are all things that we can practice, right? And practice maybe doesn't make perfect, but practice can help us become the full version of ourselves. So Ellie, what do you have there? Can you tell me what you have?
A flower.
Right, can you hold it up so everybody can see? Hold it up above your head. Good job. So we have a flower there. And that makes me think of how a flower is perfect when it grows exactly how it needs to grow. It'd be silly if a pink flower tried to like make itself blue to be like the other flowers, because every flower is different and it just grows in its own time in its own way. So I think that's how we have to be too. Oh yeah, can I smell it? It smells really good. What does it smell like to you?
Good.
Good, yeah. And
Can I walk with you in the cottage?
yes, of course, we'll be heading out real soon. So when we look at all the different flowers and all the different people around us too, I think it makes it so much more of a beautiful world, not for us all to be perfect based on somebody else's idea of what's the right thing, but for us to grow into ourselves and be the most us that we can be. So that's what we're going to work on today. So let's head out to the cottage and we'll learn some more and we're going to sing together. Okay, I'll be right back, okay?
All right, now let's sing the little kiddos off. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you as you go on your way. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you as you go on your way.
Jessica just reminded me of a coloring page that my 5th grade teacher gave me. It was a sign that said, "Be lazy, do it right the first time." And I hung that in my closet where I saw it every day. And I don't know if you know me very well, but I really want to aim to be lazy. And so I procrastinate on almost everything. But yes, I should try to let that go a little bit. Okay, at this time, we'd like to draw your attention to a few announcements seen in your Thursday e-newsletter, today's order of service, or our website. Please take a moment to silence your cell phones. Yeah, okay. Please join us for our 2025 Camp to Bentonville Pines weekend from Friday, September 26th through September 28th. Make sure you register soon as fees go up starting on September 8th. You can ask more about our community's beloved time for connection at the table in Forbes Hall after the service. But please note that scholarships are available. Please do not let money keep you from joining us. On September 14th, there will be a plant-based cooking class and a screening of the film Gaza, Journalists Under Fire. Our congregation is always honored to welcome visitors. Please find out more about our faith at our in-person First Sunday visitor meetup after the first Sunday service of each month. The next one will be September 7th, upstairs in Forbes Hall, room 3. Today, we offer one of the 2 opportunities to become trained as a volunteer for our children and youth religious exploration classes. Today, after the service, from 12 to 1 p.m. in the cottage, or via Zoom on Wednesday, the 27th, from 7 to 8. You can RSVP to Jessica at dmre@uusm.org, or you could just let her know that you'd like to attend. Parents, guardians, and anyone else who wants to learn more about our curriculum and our safety policies is welcome to sit in. All who intend to volunteer with our youth must attend one of these 2 trainings. Also today, after the service at 12, the Women's Plus group will meet for a potluck and planning meeting under the shade structure to plan for fall. What topics do you want to discuss? What do you want to learn about? What kind of a difference do we want to make? Bring food if you can, but don't let that stop you from going if you don't have some. Julie will bring flip charts and markers, and you bring your ideas and enthusiasm. And lastly, the Ministerial Search Committee just wanted to let you know that we've been busy with the initial parts of the search, and so they took a picture just to make sure that you all knew we were working. It's about that time to greet your neighbor. Remember to say hello to those you haven't seen in a while, but also to listen for Ryan's piano service, or piano, so that you can remember to come back to your seats. Let's take a few moments to greet each other now.
Mandolin, as you could probably maybe surmise by the title, is about a mandolin. And playing for this party where you see guests such as, you know, the Greek figures as Tiresias or Clitandre, and, you know, all the gods imperfect and perfect in their own ways. So enjoy.
blowing the thing. So I'm assuming that many of you come to a community like this to have community, to be in community, to relate to other people. It's good for our mental health, our spiritual health. And in a community like this, part of the advantage of knowing each other is that we often celebrate our joys and we hold space and light for people with sorrows. We didn't specifically get any joys and sorrows this week, but we know that we have them. We know we have spoken joys, unspoken joys, and spoken sorrows and unspoken sorrows. So we always want to make sure that you are available, if you want to reach out to our pastoral care associates and share your joys and sorrows. But in the meantime, we hold the space and the light for those today and every day around us. Thank you.
Good morning. I invite us to now spend some time in quiet reflection. The reading that I have chosen is from Marta Valentin, who is a UU minister, and, oh, thank you. And she is a professional development director in the Ministry and Faith group, and she wrote this, quote, "We are not here to be perfect. We are here to be real. Our calling is not to have flawless lives, but to have lives of compassion, courage, and connection. When we bring our authentic selves into the circle is made whole." I invite you now to get comfortable in your seat. Close your eyes if that feels right. Place your feet on the floor and take a deep breath in and let it go. Imagine before you a large, heavy backpack. It's stuffed full. As you open it, you see objects representing all the ways you've tried to be perfect. Perhaps you see a report card, a mirror, a to-do list that never ends, a smile you wore even when your heart was breaking. Now, one by one, gently remove these objects and place them on the ground. Feel the backpack growing lighter. Feel your shoulders loosen. Notice the space that opens up inside of you. And in that space, place a simple truth. I am enough as I am in this moment. Breathe that in. And when you are ready, return to the room, bringing with you that lighter feeling. Friends, I am delighted to be back with you this morning. I was here in July, and my dear friend Ki Kanza was serving in worship, and it's a joy and a privilege to be back. Confessions of a Recovering Perfectionist. Yes, I wrote this title 12 times. From the title of my sermon, you could surmise that I am a recovering perfectionist. Well, I didn't write the title exactly 12 times, but I stewed over it. And then I asked my husband to help me think of a title with some humor in it. Now, he's not exactly a substitute for ChatGPT, but he thought it was a good title. Is perfectionism something from which we need to recover? It depends upon how invasive perfectionism is in our life. I started thinking about perfectionism because of an email meditation that I receive each day from a Roman Catholic priest named Richard Rohr. Anyone heard of Richard Rohr? Oh, a few hands, good. I appreciate him because he draws wisdom from many sources. Buddhism, Jewish, Muslim, Sufi. He'll quote Jesus, the Torah, the Quran, and Pema Chodron. I would call him a Christocentered universalist. Now, I'm not sure he would agree, but I appreciate his global approach to gathering wisdom. A few weeks ago, his theme was perfectionism, and it got me thinking. He wrote this, quote, "Perfection is a heresy, a myth that efforts to be perfect make us more lovable or valuable. The driving effort behind perfectionism is fear and more effort instead of quiet confidence and gratitude." End quote. The American Psychological Association defines it this way: perfectionism is the tendency to demand extremely high or flawless performance in excess of what is required by the situation. It is associated with mental health problems such as depression, anxiety, and eating disorders, end quote. Now, I want my dinner table to look like Martha Stewart did it. Okay, I do. But perfectionism can be very sneaky because it starts out with something good, wanting to do well. There's nothing wrong with setting high standards and working hard to achieve your goals, right? But somewhere along the way, that goal shifts from doing our best to being flawless. And that's where the trouble begins. I grew up with a perfectionist mother. But my mom was a lot of fun. She was a combination of Bea Arthur and Lucille Ball. Can you imagine? She was only a perfectionist when it came to the cleanliness of the house. I was 11 when she went to work, and overnight, I became Cinderella. I got the white glove treatment. There was always something I didn't clean well enough, or I folded the clothes wrong, and boy, did I hear about it. Now, some of that may have rubbed off on me. A good friend of mine, she's not with us any longer, may she rest in peace, but she had the messiest house you could possibly imagine. Every room was a disorganized disaster, and she didn't care at all. She never apologized for her messy house. We spent a lot of time there, and it didn't faze her one bit. But deep down, I was itching to get into her kitchen. Let me at it. Not good. It didn't bother her. Why should it bother me? Why should I impose my standards on someone else? So when I get like that, I have learned to sing the song, the refrain, from the Disney movie Frozen. Let it go, right? Just let it go. Don't hang on to the notion that everything everywhere has to be perfect. I ran across an article from Psychology Today, and it describes 3 domains of perfectionism. One is self-oriented perfectionism. That's when you impose an unrealistic desire to be perfect on yourself. The second one, other-oriented perfectionism, meaning imposing unrealistic standards of perfection on other people. Parents can kind of do this to children sometimes. And the third one is socially prescribed perfectionism, which involves perceiving unrealistic expectation of perfection from others, just perceiving it and expecting it, not necessarily imposing it on someone. It went on to say this, quote, "Perfection is an abstraction, an impossibility in reality. When taken too far, the striving of perfection can lead to negative outcomes. Procrastination, tendency to avoid challenges, rigid all or nothing thinking, toxic comparisons," I've been guilty of that, "and a lack of creativity," end quote. When I was a young child, I was in a piano recital. This recital was at the Catholic college where my father was a professor. I was about 7. In the front row were all nuns. And this was 1962, so they had the black and white habits. And I was so nervous, scared to death. I messed up badly, and I had to restart the song a couple of times, and I remember I was so ashamed. Decades later, I decided to take up the piano again. My teacher said, "So, what are you going to play for the recital?" I said, I am not going to be in your recital, and I'm older than you, and you can't make me. To this day, I'm not a very good piano player, but to this day, I cannot play the piano in front of anyone. We have a young student from South Korea who is living with us, and she and I have had discussions about the highly competitive culture in South Korea. There is a bridge in Seoul, the Mapo or Mapo, M-A-P-O bridge, which spans the Han River, where hundreds have committed suicide. She told me that during exam time, extra police are dispatched to the bridge to prevent people, many of them young students, from committing suicide if they didn't get a perfect score on their exams. I read this from a professor at Yonsei University. His name is Park Hae-lin. And he writes about the generation that pursues unattainable perfection. He writes this, quote, "The young generation's pursuit of perfection seems to serve not as a self-motivator, but rather a dangerous psychological burden." He goes on to say, "Competition in all aspects of society is becoming increasingly fierce, whether it's for college admissions, landing a job, or finding a house. Yet many fail to recognize that life itself is not a competition. A single mistake causes one to get eliminated from the eternal competition of life, stigmatizing one as a failure. Such an unforgiving societal atmosphere fosters an even greater longing for perfection," end quote. Well, I had the privilege of visiting South Korea with our student, and she took me to Gangnam, which is the Beverly Hills of Seoul. We stood in front of a very tall building with dozens of brightly colored neon lights all over the face of the building. I asked her, "What are all these businesses?" She said, "They're all plastic surgeons." That building, that building, that building. She said, "Plastic surgery here is common. It's a way to perfect physical beauty." Well, our society may not be quite as South Korea, but I'll tell you, and you know this, there is an enormous pressure here to have it all, or to look like you have it all. People use all kinds of techniques now to make them look better on social media. I am doing a project with my daughter-in-law, and we were working, and she said, oh, I want to take a picture of us working together and post it on TikTok or something. And I said, gee, you could have given me some warning. I just rolled out of bed. She said, don't worry about it. I'll use a filter for you. Even on Zoom, there's a button you can slide to enhance your appearance on a Zoom call. Okay, I've got mine slid all the way up to the max. Perfectionism is a myth, and social media is its storyteller. I read a study of British, US, and Canadian college students, and the study was from 1989 to 2016, and it showed that young people today are more perfectionists than ever before, and with social media, it's increasing. Perfectionism tells us if you just get it right, no one will criticize you. If you work hard enough, no one will reject you. If you never make a mistake, you'll never feel shame. I've known people, and maybe you have too, whose talents never saw the light of day because they were afraid their art or their writing or their singing or their piano playing wouldn't be good enough. And so they hid it away. Perfectionism tells us that unless we can do something perfectly, we shouldn't do it at all. And then I saw a quote on Instagram that said, quote, anything worthwhile doing is worth doing poorly. The opposite of perfection is not mediocrity, it's wholeness. Wholeness means embracing every part of ourselves, the polished and the messy, the proud moments and those painful lessons. The Japanese have a form of art called kintsugi, where they repair broken pottery, and they highlight the cracks with gold paint instead of hiding them. And the repaired pottery often looks more beautiful than before it was broken. Perfectionism can take an ugly twist socially, too. I read something that gave me chills. Parker Palmer is a Quaker teacher and activist, and he wrote this, quote, I actually think that perfectionism is a kind of nightmarish wish dream. He goes on, if you think of it socially, the people who promise perfection on earth are actually the totalitarian dictators who want to run everything themselves and are offering a false promise in order to seduce people into some sort of political or social pathology. It's only been 6 months. 6 months, oh my God. Is there anything good about perfectionism? Psychology Today gives us an answer. There's two kinds, adaptive and maladaptive. Adaptive perfectionists set lofty goals, they have high standards, they work hard for their success, and they're achievement-oriented. But they desire growth, they enjoy being challenged, and they problem-solve well. The perfectionist tendencies are a strength, not a weakness, but the maladaptive perfectionists are failure-oriented. They have an excessive preoccupation about past mistakes. They have doubts about achieving goals. They're scared to death to fail, and they're afraid of letting other people down. Well, I think perfectionism is on a sliding scale, right? Now, on one end, some of you may say, hey, I am not a perfectionist. I don't care what people think. I'm comfortable with who I am, flaws and all. But maybe some of us, and I think I'm in this category, have perfectionist tendencies in a few areas of our life, right? Maybe your desk at work has to look perfect all the time, or your kitchen, or your grooming, or your garden, right? It's one area or two in your life where you have a perfectionist tendency. And maybe some are full-blown perfectionists to the max in everything. Okay, so what's the takeaway from all of this? For me, it's to remember that we should seek excellence and not perfection. For 23 years, I've sung with the women's chorus of El Camino College. Our director, Dr. Joanna Medawar-Nashef, always told us, I don't expect perfection, I expect excellence. She knew that one of us was bound to sing a wrong note or hit a wrong rhythm, but she set a high standard, and by golly, we met it. My charge to us is this. If we have any young children or young people in our sphere of influence, wherever we personally are on that sliding scale of perfectionism, let's help young people understand the value of excellence and the perils of perfectionism. Can we do that? Let's do that. Let's make that a challenge for us. Because with excellence, you do your best with the resources that you have, with your time and the knowledge that you have. Excellence focuses on progress, growth, and high standards. Excellence will accept limitations, but learn from mistakes. Excellence encourages people to improve and build resilience. And let's tell our young people, be driven by purpose and curiosity and your personal values. My niece, in her early 20s, did a piano recital, and she botched it badly. She must have started 4 times. We were all just going, oh. And finally, she just stopped, got up, and walked off the stage. It was painful. A year later, she got back on that recital stage, and she played a Beethoven piece beautifully. She knocked it out of the ballpark. She had a terrible mistake. She learned from it. She set high standards. She worked hard, and she did it. So that's what we want to see in our young people, right? Yeah. Let's help our young people. There's an epidemic out there with this social media and all that stuff. But let's help our young people shed this idea that they have to be perfect, because our culture is imposing that on them. Let's teach them to strive for excellence instead. The other antidote to perfectionism is unconditional love. My friend with her messy house, I loved her so much. Her house didn't matter one single bit. So let's tell our young people how much we love them just as they are. It's not conditional on their report card or their performance or their appearance or how many likes they get on Facebook. We don't have to earn our place here by being perfect. We are here because we're human, and we belong because we're alive. I want to end with the words that we heard earlier from Reverend Valentine. We are not here to be perfect. We are here to be real. Our calling is not to have flawless lives, but to live lives of compassion, courage, and connection. When we bring our authentic selves to the circle is made whole. Friends, may it be so. Thank you.
So I have this document. It's called Cassie's Life Advice 101. And on page 5, follow with me here. This is my advice. When you dust your house right before you go on vacation. And this is why. Have you ever noticed how right after you dust, you're very particularly sensitive to that 1, 2, 3 little pieces that fall on there, and you're just like, I mean, come on, I just cleaned this. But like after a few days, you're kind of like, okay, that's all right. Like a bit more dust is okay, but those few little specks, not okay. So go on vacation right after you dust, and when you come back, you won't have to suffer through the few specks that have landed on your thing without your permission. So this has been a wonderful day. Thank you guys so much for being here. Generally, as a generous congregation and as a part of our spiritual practice, half of this morning's offering will go to support the good work of the congregation, and half will be shared with an organization that furthers our UU values and principles in the wider world. Within our congregation, your offering goes to support the work of Faith in Action, intersectional anti-racism, anti-oppression commissions, social justice committee, pastoral care associates, worship associates, on and on and on, committees and task force and such. The other half of today's offering will go to a beloved place many of us know, Camp de Benneville Pines. Camp de Benneville Pines was established in 1961 and is supported by more than 50 member congregations of the Pacific Southwest District. De Benneville's mission is to welcome UUs and kindred spirits to connect with nature, sparking creativity, and building the capacity to influence positive change in the world. Its purpose is to build community, empower and inspire youth, foster a passion for environmental protection, and provide leadership opportunities, all while harnessing the beauty of its natural surroundings. De Benneville is necessary, indispensable, vital, and essential to our UU community in how it invites us to nurture connections, transformations, and joy. We invite you to contribute in whatever way feels right for you. Ways to give are displayed on the slide behind me. All the ways of receiving support are gratefully accepted. Cash or checks can be placed in the offertory bags that we passed around shortly. Thank you for all that you give, monetarily, but also for all of the care that you put into this congregation and helping us to be a community. The ushers are now invited to come forward. Your offering will gratefully be received.
Let us search our hearts for excellence, courage, compassion, connection, and unconditional love. And may we go forth from this place in peace and demonstrate and show to our young people how much they are loved and valued just the way they are. That's our marching orders. Go in peace to serve one another and the world with love and grace. Thank you.